unequivocally, without a doubt, in my opinion, AI is going to transform how we do business. Now, the math piece a lot is automatically computed. My opinion, I don't have a crystal ball, but if I'm looking in the future, I think it's going to allow us as humans to do more, produce more, probably with a little less human capital. So finding that balance of the right people. The beautiful thing is this country, you do that, you're willing to work hard. And those that are just born into less than advantageous situations, if we as communities can rally around that and help them out, and the American dream is live and real. What do you see in this place? And again, we're like, yeah, but look at this place. I mean, no state income tax, sunshine 300 plus days a year, weather's fantastic. It's paradise, right? This can't stay deflated forever. Like people are going to figure it out. What vitamin D does to us as humans and the natural vitamin D you get from the sun, it's a wonderful thing, just both in attitude and biomolecularly and how you feel as a human being. The sun is a very powerful thing. Professionally speaking, I always kind of saying like, I won't interview anybody if they don't have over a 3.8 GPA. And I'm like, great, they're a test taker and maybe they're a super talented person, but I'll take a 3.0 with great character and hustle. And maybe they're just a terrible test taker than a 3.8. They're just going to expect the world. That's a different person to me. And there's systems where person A at the 3.8 works out. And there's a system where, person B in a 3.0 but has immense character and hustle works out.
What makes a man walk away from the prestige of Ernst Young and Deloitte, two of the world's biggest accounting firms, to pursue work that means something? Today's guest, Michael DeLuca, principal and head of industries and advisory at HBK CPAs and Consultants, reveals the kind of wisdom that only comes from choosing substance over status, relationships over transactions, and community over comfort. From his daily technology-free wine walks with his wife Edie, to mentoring at-risk youth through Take Stock in Children, to serving on the board of Better Together, an organization keeping families out of the foster care system, Michael embodies a rare blend of Big Four excellence and genuine human connection. In this deeply personal conversation, he shares how a CPA can change lives by showing up with empathy instead of spreadsheets, why he'd rather hire a 3.0 student with hustle than a 3.8 test taker without character, and the profound truth that in our non-binary world, the real art isn't in having all the answers. It's in helping people discover their own God-given potential while walking beside them through this messy, beautiful complexity of building both businesses and lives that matter. Other people get to experience too, which, by the way, your wife, is it Edie? Edie has a day of pampering on us because you got the shaved look, so you could get
my hair's a little limited for the work that you all do.
So she has a day of pampering, so we have to make sure that we get her to come in and just be treated like a princess and get any services she wants. And be part of our treat for taking care of. So she was a CPA too.
Yeah, still credentialed. She just doesn't practice in public accounting.
So how did that, two CPAs together, so two overly analytical minds, or what is it? How are you different in that?
Yeah, I mean, both of us are very analytical, but I would also say that we complement how we think too. I'm probably the more analytical one when it comes to that. Her mind thinks like an attorney. And so that's always how she thought. Yeah. That's one of the first times I ever met my wife, and she told me the same because we were both coming out of other relationships, and we meet each other, sparks flying. It's
this at school, or this
is at Ernst Young. So it's our first real job, adult job, coming out of our respective master's programs, and we both started at Ernst Young in Atlanta. And so I met her there, and one of the first times that we really spent one-on-one time together, she said, "Look, I want no funny business from you. You don't even have to worry about making a pass or try at me. I'm going to be here 2 years, and I'm going to law school. That's my life plan." I was like, "Yes, ma'am. That sounds like a great plan. I understand where I stand and your priorities or wherever this is going to go. I'd rather know where I stand now, right, than go down the path." But like I said, sparks flew, and one thing led to another, and just we immediately fell in love with one another. And again, she thinks like an attorney, and she specialized her career there for a good while in forensics and litigation support, expert witness testimony. So she has a completely different mind than I do, even though we share a same professional credential in CPA.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of different avenues within a company like that you could take your analytics to. Yep. And yours was what? What was your specialty that you?
My specialty was always really strategic business consulting with a tax emphasis too. So came up in the tax world, but really always tried to spend the conversation leveraging my MBA and master's program. I just loved general business and trying to maximize whatever potential and whatever that owner wanted their business to be or not be, right? And still try to do that to this day. And that's my whole philosophy. Just try to get the most God-given potential out of whatever you want in your life, meet wants, needs, goals, and let's see if our skill sets can marry to achieve those.
When did that become obvious to you that was your passion?
Even at a young age, I would say, and I don't mean that lightly, growing up through athletics and playing competitive and through Division I baseball, I always loved leading people. And it wasn't from a altruistic, selfish perspective. It was, I just generally loved being around other talented people. Mm-hmm. And hopefully they looked at me as a leader and wanted to step up, and was never afraid to kind of be the voice within the huddle or voice within the field. And from that point forward, I just carried that over to my professional life whenever the academic or the athletic side started to wane.
Yeah.
Right. And I just knew that at some point I wanted to be an owner. I wanted to lead teams of talented people and always try to continue to maximize whatever it is and whatever abilities I had. If I could share those and had helped another human being, then I think that's my mission and purpose in life.
How did that thought process, what guided you to accounting in undergrad or whatever area you started in?
I loved math. Loved math.
Okay.
I was a nerd at heart. Even as a competitive athlete, I was just a big nerd.
Yeah.
And so I just always loved math from the time I was 5 years old. And I remember my mom sitting down with me, and she would go to, I was in public school at the time, and she would sit down and after hours, and she's like, my child is like getting anxious. He wants more schoolwork. Something's like wrong with him almost. And, a 5-6-year-old boy that wants more schoolwork, and he just says he wants more math. So
Really?
The teachers would send like extra homework home, even at that age, just to do math. And she would sit me down and I would just do math.
Was your mom a teacher too?
She was not.
No.
She got her degree in public health, and I'll call her just a master networker. She knew everybody in town. She worked in banking. She worked in sales. She worked in, business development. She just never met a stranger and is easy to like in the professional world. And that was her. So she has a teacher's heart, I think.
Okay.
But never really, she did some substitute stuff, and she did teach like when she was in her 20s, but I think she always just carried that forward with us.
And it's you and your brother?
Me and my brother.
And you're the older or younger?
Older by 6.5 years.
Yeah. 6.5 years, older brother. Okay. So you're this math, you just got to have math. Math was your thing. You were just all over math. I remember our CPA from many years ago for our business was concerned because he was, when computers, I think Peachtree software was one of the first ones. It was like this first accounting software. He was concerned that the accountants that he was hiring were just going to rely too much on the computer and not know the math behind everything that was going on in accounting. It was his big concern that he had a fear of that going into the world. And, he was getting accountants or people out of schools. They didn't know what was behind what the computer was doing at the time. Right. This is many years ago. Right. So, but now with the advent of AI too, how is that? I don't want to get off track with it, but AI fascinates me, especially around that.
No,
world.
Let's go there. Let's dig in.
What is that? What has that been like for you in your world?
AI, it's such a buzzword that's going on in the corporate world right now. And there is unequivocally, without a doubt, in my opinion, AI is going to transform how we do business on the commercial side. And the power of computing. So the fear of your CPA at the time, like now the math piece a lot is automatically computed, right? Whether the software that exists even pre-AI, now you got AI and what that can do on top of that. We are, as a firm, we are extremely aware of this. I think a lot of individuals in the corporate world, like, what do I do with AI? I don't even know how to implement this a lot of times. And I think it will, transition the back office operations, a lot of what people do, and help out with that. I think my opinion, I don't have a crystal ball, but if I'm looking in the future, I think it's going to allow us as humans to do more, produce more, probably with a little less human capital. So finding that balance of the right people. I know we're continually trying to change our training programs internally at our firm, at least, we got to get people back, people facing, right? So we got to get our team members people facing, relationship based, not as much of transactional, focus on numbers and that's it.
Yeah.
We got to have a different level of EQ and a different level of understanding with our clients, because I think that, in my opinion, is a little bit more AI proof.
Yeah.
Right? Is
Yeah.
AI going to be able to transition the nonverbal communication and EQ of us as humans in that kind of side of our brain computing power? Maybe at one point, probably a scarier thought than what people want to go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, I think we are more embrace AI, and how do we leverage this to maximize production and get our people focused on probably what our clients want the most anyway, is more human interaction and more touches.
What does that look like? What does that mean? Like client interaction, human touches. Tell me about what that is for you.
I think it's getting out from behind a computer. I just call it old school. Like, go back to how business was probably done. I wasn't born, but I got to imagine from stories I hear back in the 50s and 60s and 70s when it was, I'm with this person because I trust them because they show up.
Yeah.
Like, they answer my call, they show up in my business. I have a deeper relationship and trust level with them. And that's something that I feel like, as great as the advent of the internet and a lot of the other things that branched out of there with social media and other channels, it was wonderful in one regard, but that human touch and human element, I think we have sacrificed a lot on that front to really build, especially in the professional service world, that going back to like the basic human element of connection.
Yeah. That's awesome. I really love that. I have had since COVID, actually an entirely new relationship with accounting and business. I mean, I knew it was always a necessity, but when I heard the term CPA, it was always just related to taxes and year-end stuff and not anything operational.
Green visors, calculators, right. Kind of a little bit more nerdy. And
Yeah. And I had this kind of breakthrough happen during COVID, and I'm so grateful for the YouTube algorithm. It was at the beginning of the shutdown when we knew we were going to have to shut down, and they were talking about this PPP and how to get it and all that. It was March of 2020, and I happened to be trying to get information off the internet, and there was this CPA in Oklahoma made a video for his clients in Oklahoma, but somehow he only had 20 subscribers. The algorithm showed him to me, and he was just sharing about how to go through the process of the PPP, and he was confident if Pelosi passed it or the House passed, he was just guiding us, his clients, not me. I wasn't his client. I happened to start writing some comments because I was nervous, thinking, how are we going to pay? We pay people by salary. How are we going to make payroll?
It was a tough time.
Scary.
It was an interesting time. Yeah. Those few months.
And he responded at 2 a.m. to my messages, and we started chatting, and he ended up making more videos, and we ended up talking more, and his guidance was a voice of comfort. It was just like there was some certainty and some security and I had faith again. Like he really, I'd never forget the conversation I had with him at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, thank you, God, you sent this man that made I wasn't his client. Like, he had no business talking to me. Like, he literally was just trying to help his own people. Yeah. And he literally saved the lives of all of us. I really believe that, because I was a mess, and I was just terrified. And, this human who, like you said, was, not talking to me about taxes or anything. He was just comforting me, like, it's going to be okay. Here's the plan. Here's how it works. I'm going to help you fill it out. He just was guiding me as a business owner. And he did some things that were very interesting, because he started doing these calls, and he would, these live video events on YouTube, and he'd just let anybody go in and watch, and he would just talk about what to do, because we were closed for 56 days. Well, what to do? He said, well, go into your business and just walk around. It's empty, it's closed, but go in and he just gave us little things to fill our minds with to get rid of the fear. Sure. And it really, what you were sharing, it was exactly, it embodied that. Like, it was a different relationship with somebody who, he took away my fear of the IRS. I've had this lifelong fear of the IRS. Just any letter from the IRS, I was terrified of. Even if it was just a change of address thing, just whatever it was. So
I love hearing that story, and I love hearing that someone who is not even remotely here, had no alternative motive to get your business or anything else, just was helping a fellow human being, a fellow brother, that to get better and to work through that. And I appreciate you sharing that story, because I feel like you as a business owner, and sometimes owners get the bad rap, but I see way more, especially in beautiful communities like we have here in Southwest Florida, business owners wear their business, their people on their sleeve. They take that home at night. They stay up at night. They worry about these things. And that's the beauty. And that's exactly why I work for HBK now, not even a bigger firm, because that's our clientele. We deal with them and it means something.
Yeah.
Like when you're having those conversations and you're having those relationships, you're hoping that it's just not a one-on-one as a business owner and, a client, professional advisor type relationship. We know they are really taking that to heart. We're just trying to better not only their life, but really it's all their employees, team members, everybody in their sphere and network.
Yeah.
And that to me is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Right. When you have any sort of profession that can be able to do that and you concentrate on that, it's powerful.
Yeah.
You're reaching a lot of people.
I'm moved by thinking about it right now, like going back to that and just the humanity of that human, like that. I love that man. He's one of my best friends now. And, he's always been there and just that, just gave me a whole new view of that whole profession and what is available. And, it was life-changing for me. And I'm grateful for that. Cause I when you shared that, it was like, wow, that's what I experienced, what you're talking about. I got to experience that side, not just sign this at year end and this is what it means. And it was a whole different way. It was, so I love hearing that. That's what I saw that a couple times, that whatever God-given talent you have, you want to bring out the best. I'm paraphrasing, but some version of that is your sort of your mantra.
That's my personal mission.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why I wake up every day, and some days I fall well short of that, right? We're human beings, but it doesn't change the rightful path.
Yeah. So you work with these because you were like top of your class, obviously, and everything you did. You were what is it, top 5%? Is that what that means?
Whatever the Latin terms they throw behind there.
Right, So you go to work at the Harvard of business, Ernst was Deloitte,
Ernst Young.
Ernst, yeah. So what does that mean in the world of to have that as on your resume, to be somebody who's been there?
Yeah, the brand names of, I worked, with Ernst Young. I did another stint with Deloitte, and it's two of the, 4 biggest accounting and financial firms in the world, right? And to have that on your resume is just a stamp of approval of what you were, in my opinion, at that point in time in your life, but can never take that away. It just is kind of, okay, they believed in you enough, as the largest firm in the world, that they gave you a job. So you got to have some chops to you, right? No matter where you go in life. I had great experiences. They work you like a dog. It's, especially then and going through the financial recession when I was with those firms and working with financial institutions nonetheless at that time, it was a lot of long hours. You had to roll up your sleeves and do the work, and 70, 80 hours almost year round was the commonplace and the norm. It's an unsustainable lifestyle.
Yeah.
You're in your 20s and it accelerates a lot of learning path.
Yeah. So this was at a time when the world was in a major crisis, right?
Major crisis, right? So, my first love, what I tell people, the biggest compliment, by the way, that somebody can give me is, you're not like most CPAs I meet. And I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to try to change that marketing around the professional CPAs. My first love was finance. Again, I'll go back to my younger years where I was I was a huge nerd, and I keep saying it, but at the age of 3.5, I was able to read, and my parents would sit me down. I would literally wake myself up. I'd go down, fix myself a bowl of cereal, and I'd read the sports page, right? But on the back of the sports page in Lexington, Kentucky at the time was the business section. It was like a 3-page business section, and always had the stock market movement as the last page. So I would literally just sit there and analyze stock market movements, and I didn't know what I was looking at, but I'd pick the letters of, the ticker symbols, and I would just watch how they move. And I was fascinated by the world of finance, even at an early age, even though I had no relative, like how this applies to the real world.
Yeah.
And so even coming out, I wanted to go out of my MBA program. And the only reason I chose public accounting was I wanted the CPA credential. My thought process all along in my early 20s was I'd get the CPA and I'd bounce back into the financial realm at some point in time. That didn't happen, and clearly it didn't happen now. But again, I graduated from my MBA program in April of 2008 and accepted the job with Ernst Young in Atlanta, went down there. A lot of my talented colleagues coming out of MBA went the finance path. And we all know what happened in October of 2008, right? And the world fell out. And I see all these extremely talented people now that went to New York City or went to Chicago and the financial metros of the United States getting laid off and let go and all of a sudden out of a job.
Yeah.
And that just said a wake up call and said, I got to really dig in this profession, and maybe my plans are going to be altered a little bit in the finance world. But all I know how to do is when times get tough and adversity hits, you pray, you roll up your sleeves, and hard work overcomes. And that's what it was instilled in me with my family since a young age, right? So you just work your way through it, and that's exactly what I tried to do, right? And so then, I had great times, great career, and after about 6 years almost within the larger firms, going back to kind of what I touched upon, I almost got bored with the clientele. And you're talking about large financial institutions, insurance companies, publicly traded Fortune 500 companies, great brands, great logos to have on your resume that you were able to work with. But at the end of the day, it just felt empty, right? Because the clientele, great people on the client side too, but they're highly paid employees. And so going back to kind of like working when it means something at the end of the night, and in kitchen table conversation and families, not just with owners, but downstream, I wanted to do more of that. And, at the time, Edie was working with HBK, and that's what made me have to move. They had an opening and took a shot, left the big firms, came over to HBK and never looked back, because of just that element of wanting to work in a holistic fashion with people where it mattered in life. So.
How did they pitch you on that? What was their recruiting?
I think the
line worked.
I want to believe the main partner at the time, who became a dear mentor of mine, has been in Naples for a long time, Barry Holes. And I think the recruiting pitch was probably easy. My wife said, my husband is getting restless and is looking for a new challenge, a new opportunity. Would you be willing to meet with him? And he said, sure, I'll at least have a lunch with him. And we hit it off. I shared my vision and what I wanted to do. And I think Barry saw that in me, and it was an easy hire. He was on our executive committee at the time, and more or less I've just taken over every role he held in the firm, and he's now retired. I've stepped into market leader positions, running the state of Florida. I sit on our executive committee now, national head of a position that didn't even exist within the firm a few years ago. So just continue to rise to the challenge, and whatever God blesses me with the opportunity is, again, roll up your sleeves, work hard, and tackle that.
Yeah. What is HBK?
So our bread and butter is a CPA firm. We're the 45th largest CPA firm in the country at this point in time. Since I've joined, it's not just because of me, it's a lot of talented professionals who joined at that time and even before us that set the path of this. We've tripled in size over the last 12 years. So we've gone from, a much smaller firm to now we're more of a national player with over 800 employees globally, a lot here in the Eastern United States. And what we try to do is hit the middle market America, small to medium sized businesses and high net worth individuals. That's who we work with, and we try to be a holistic financial services provider, way beyond just tax and accounting, wealth management, IT services, HR services for business owners, valuation services, transaction advisory services. We have a pretty much full gamut at this point in time, other than an outsourced marketing engine that we can help business owners on a different level.
What's the smallest business and what's the biggest business size that you would work with?
I take clients. I take de novo businesses. I do a lot. My professional side, when it's not with dealing with firm matters, is predominantly, if not almost exclusively, in healthcare at this point in time. So I work with a lot of private physician and dental practices, ambulatory surgery centers, no big hospital systems, and I work with solo doc practices and solo entrepreneur businesses all the way through. Very large and significant players in the healthcare side on the private. We're talking easy 8 figures to 9 figures of revenue plus, and can run the gamut there, right? And shift. And to me, the most important thing is just working with, again, I'll go back to really, really good people. That's what I enjoy doing. Life's too short at this point.
Yeah.
Right? So I just look at it, and if it's the solo entrepreneur that's like, I need help, I'm willing to invest in a different way, and we're going to grow this thing, and here's my ambitions. That's a great client for me, just because I love to see the journey, taking it from, just you, and how are we going to grow this thing into maybe something different for your family and a lot of other families that are going to ride that. I would imagine that
the healthcare field has got to be just unreal to navigate right now with especially a doctor, where it's
challenging.
Yeah, I can't imagine what they got to go through, what you got to know to help them through what is going on in their world between. It's not what it was. when I grew up, a doctor was the thing, and they could make endless amounts of money, and that was top of the tier. But now they've just been relegated to just this ceiling almost. It seems like they can't, how do they grow?
It's an interesting system, what we have right now. There's a lot of headline noise, and it mostly centers around health insurance.
Yeah.
When you're talking the healthcare system. But again, I deal with mostly exclusively on the private side. So private practices, it's the doctor or the group down the street that you're seeing, not affiliated with a hospital, directly or anything like that. The most unique thing in healthcare is just the business model itself. So most business owners, like, owner physicians they're accustomed to, if I work hard or produce more, my business will grow, my revenue will grow.
Yeah.
Right. And not just from the bottom line and I get to earn more, but, I'll provide and do all these other things. In healthcare, it's unique. The last 3 years, revenue has been cut by the government. CMS has cut revenue for them a certain percentage. So now you're working harder to earn the same amount of revenue. Yeah. And expenses continue to go up too.
Sure.
With
crazy,
right? So, and you see it as a business owner as well. So that's a double-edged sword in healthcare that no one else really deals with because they have zero pricing control. Really, everything's contractually dictated.
Wow.
And it's been having deflationary cuts, right, and pressure on their revenue and inflationary on their expenses. So it's been very challenging to navigate. I don't know where this is going to end up. It's going to be really difficult because so much is centered around bureaucratic entities. Yeah. Still to this day in large insurance carriers, and I don't mean to get off on that or say anything kind of controversial, but that to me that's kind of where our healthcare industry is. Yeah. And if something doesn't change, and again, it's not just on the insurance side, although I think that's right for something different. I think you're just going to see continued frustration with a lot of great people, great doctors that truly took the Hippocratic Oath for a reason and want to help people. Right. They want to do the right thing, but then they also, in a private setting, have to run a business at the end of the day. Yeah. And that's where their challenge is right now is how do I successfully continue to navigate running my business with these pressures? Yeah. So
I feel for them because they don't have control over any of that like a business does or a solopreneur does in any other aspect. They're just locked in and they can't move the levers around like a normal business person can to make things grow or to at least stay even or not to go in the hole. And it's got to be difficult. Yeah. And I was thinking, maybe a dental practice, there's a lot of cosmetics now. There's so many other things they can do that, it doesn't seem to me that locks them into as a doctor. Like, what does a doctor do? A medical doctor, does he have to sell out to the big group does he have to fold into one of those and become a cog?
You've seen that a lot. Yeah. Right. And especially when, private capital and private equity monies were moving a lot around the healthcare space. And this was, you go back to just after COVID, you're talking late 21 through really 2023, you saw a lot of private equity deployment. It slowed down a little bit, but I think it's about to pick back up again. Doctors just have, some physicians became so frustrated. They're like, just take the administration and, the business side off my plate. Whatever years I have left, I just want to go practice medicine. But private equity is a whole different consideration when you're talking healthcare because it's a unique model like we talked about in the business sense. So, a lot of times private equity gets a terrible moniker and everybody has their own thoughts on that. But a lot of times they can come into a business and what do? They try to, increase pricing or increase, revenue, and they are bottom line focused and there's a lot of things. But in healthcare, again, you can't just control pricing. So the tried and true methods of private equity is a little bit of square peg round hole when it comes to healthcare because of that revenue challenge. It's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, is that also happening in the dental world too?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
And they're making offers to guys that it's tough for them to turn down. Is that how it is? They throw so much money at them?
Valuations were hot there for a while. So when you get heated valuations in any business, you're going to have probably more activity just because it's, holy cow, you're valuing my practice worth more than I ever thought it was going to be worth. Especially if, it's not centered around just one dentist, right? Because there's so much personal goodwill built into that. Yeah. They're not come to see just that dentist. They're coming to see the practice because they know how the practice operates. Okay. The patient itself.
So that would be more attractive to those
to the buyer. Yeah.
Okay. And that's in a state of what now for dental practice? Is that happening now, or is it
still happening? Yeah. I think it's still happening. I think you had major roll-ups happening, like I said, in recent history, but I truly believe, and I still see it, there's still a lot of what I'll call tuck-in mergers, in the private equity space, they always try to find their flagship. If a new fund's being put together, want to invest in a dental organization or something like that, they'll find their flagship practice, and that's going to be their platform. And once you have the platform, you're looking for add-on practices to tuck in with that platform. I think we're about to see a lot of tuck-in type activity pick up again here in the coming years.
What do you look for when you get a new client, or when you look at a prospective client, or just when you look at any business? What do you see? Because you see it from a different angle with your experience and your background. What is it like for you? Because
every time a new client approaches me, and again, I may or may not be different. I try to see the person and like the story behind the business. Like I get down to like before we start talking taxes and strategy, and we can deliver that if someone's coming in from the more technical side, but I want to know, like you, are we going to be able to have a relationship here on a professional sense? Am I the right fit? As much as you may be, and okay, you're going to pay our firm to do a service, and I'm going to deliver that service, but are we just going to be a right fit for one another? I want to hear us. Let's get to know one another, right? So I think that's incredibly important. I don't think all CPAs do that, per se, but I think that's incredibly important for us to get to know one another. And a lot of times I've been very blessed. My clients who have kind of already gone through that and I consider friends are recommending me. So if it comes through a trusted channel, I already know by association, you're probably going to be pretty good ilk as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then from that point, it's okay, what do you have going on? And trying to provide a very bespoke boutique type of service to them that not just here's another idea right off the shelf. There's common ones we use, but it's really just what's going to work for you in your life, because you're one of one, right? And your dynamics are one of one. So how does that work? We have a lot of ideas. We can do a lot of things, but if it doesn't work for you, I'm not going to beat it down your throat and say, well, if you don't listen to me, you're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just don't hold it against me if you say, why aren't you doing more for me? And
we're
bringing that to the table.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, we're continuing to try to strive and maximize again for you and offering that level of bespoke service.
So how do you deal with it when there's something very obvious going on in the business? You could see it, whether it's they're overpaying or some area of expenses or something like that, and you've got somebody who's maybe a little bit egotistical or a little bit tougher to coach than the average person, because that's why they're that person.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's tough. Some people will throw their hands up. I think there's a way to do it too. We internally and externally with our clients, we try to adhere to a no jerk policy at HBK. So again, life's too short to work with jerks, and there's no reason usually to be that way. People have egos, and we can work with egos. And look, I deal with healthcare, and this is not directed at any physician I deal with or anything, but usually, physicians get to where they are. They have an ego. I have an ego, right? And it's how you approach that. And if you balance that with humility, like you can go down the path and be extremely good and confident in your abilities. If it is borderline purely arrogant to a disrespectful tune, more than likely we're probably not going to be working together for very much. Not that I can't handle it. I got tough skin.
Yeah.
But mostly, again, it goes back to, but why is that necessary in the course of business?
Yeah.
And oftentimes, again, it's going to, I want to work with people who are helping people and, making a bigger impact in lives. And if you're like that with me, how are you like with your people too?
Yeah.
On the internal side. So that's more of a really indication of maybe we're just not a right fit if you're overly egotistical to the tune of disrespect. And especially if they were trying to disrespect one of our team members at HBK, I draw the line there pretty quickly.
What would you say our business and so many other businesses, these last 5 years have been just so hard, and the costs of everything are just like, our hair color alone that we buy has had just had a 6 price increase in 2 years. And passing those increases on is so tough in a service business because they're one-on-one and they want to negotiate with you. Yep. What do you have for people that are in those positions? Because everybody's got rising costs now, and that's killing balance sheet, killing income statements, and just it's been tough.
It's tough, and it really comes down to like what you have such a great salon. It has a brand. Like you got to lean into your brand, and it may not be that every customer is for you, and that's really hard for a business owner, especially one with a service heart that clearly you have too. It's like, well, I want to help everybody. I want to make everybody look the best. And then you just have to know if you have that, I think it's a wonderful mission. That may just not be your highest margin. And is that important to you or not? Right. Yeah. So maybe I'm not making, as much on certain services or certain clientele, you have to be okay with that as a business owner too. You can never run in the red, because if businesses are running in the red, clearly you're done. I mean, what's the point?
You got a
Like
job.
you're working for free at that point. No one wants to work for free. Even as employees, no one's going to work for free. So why should a business owner do the same? But really, it's like leaning in my opinion, to who you are and what makes you special. And it's really hard to do, and it's very easy to say and hard to execute. Yeah. But the people that can try to figure out that balance, and then really concentrate on, okay, these are the services, and I'm not pushing anything. I'm seeing the market. All right, I have higher cost here, and sometimes you just got to pass those through. And that's what's happened a lot. And I encourage the same. It's cost of stuff has just gone up, and us as consumers are going to make choices of, that's worth it to me or not. And if it's not, it's either you kind of go to a different service and a brand level, and more than likely it's going to resemble not the experience they have at Robert of Philadelphia. Yeah. Right. Yeah. They go, can I say Great Clips here? Like, they go to a Great Clips, different price, different service, right? Yeah, but you're going to get what you pay for. And especially in the service world, like you're in, like I'm in, I truly believe more often than not, you get what you pay for. And it's up to us as the business owner to make sure us and everybody who falls under our brand names are delivering that level of service and that level of experience for our clients or customers or patients or whatever it may be, if we're trying to charge a premium. Yeah. And that's, it's less than perfect, but that's what we try to instill in our team. Right? Yeah. Because we don't want to be the cheapest in town. We've leaned into our brand. This is who we are. This is the type of client we want to serve, both on a personality perspective and clearly a financial component too. But our people have to know that when we do that, we got to lean into, you got to differentiate yourself. And we feel like we have what we think is a differentiator, but we got to execute on that every day. And that's the hardest part. Yeah. Making sure our people execute.
It can't be all things to all people. Yeah.
That's it. That's hard. Like sometimes business owners, again, I go back to it with service hearts and great people. They just want that. That's when the heart takes over. Yeah. But it's really difficult to be all things to all people.
Yeah. And if we're not profitable, we're not going to be there for people. If we're not making money, we're not going to be able to do what we do. We won't be able to have that.
It's going to be worse than running skinny margins, right? Yeah. If you're not profitable, the business is going to go away at some point.
Yeah. My father, who started the business in 1980, but he had been in the business for a while before that. He eighth grade dropout, didn't have a formal education, but just a hustler, man, a Philly hustler. This dude did whatever he needed to do to make it happen. And he was a damn good hair cutter. I mean, that was his passion. He loved cutting hair. He loved making women look beautiful. It was his thing. And he was that person who had the ego, which somebody has to have that. He had that, but he earned it. He definitely earned it. A little Philly guy who with a charm and an attitude and a great gift of style. Haircuts at the time, I think, were the average high-end haircut was $25, and he made his price $50. And he was so proud of that. Like, listen, if you want to go, you're going to get the best haircut. And some people were annoyed by it. Like, wait a minute, it was $25, that's $50 this week. But it's a $50, I'm going to give you a $50 haircut, and I'm not for everybody. And what he would do is he would do the haircut, and then he would have somebody else in the salon maybe do the next two haircuts. They would follow his line and do the $25 or $35 haircut, and then they would go back to him for the third haircut, for the $50 haircut. But he was never ashamed or never apologized about his pricing. He was just like, it has to be, this is what it has to be. If I'm going to be Robert and do it the right way, this is what the price is. I can't do all of you. I can only do so many haircuts a day, and proud of that. So it was always his thing. He had that, and a lot of stylists get this real close relationship with their guests. And when it comes time to raise a price, the person's almost like insulted, like, oh, we're friends. Why are you raising your price? I mean, how could you do that to me? But it's like, to stay in business, we have to do that. We won't be here. If you really love us, you'll respect the fact that I have a mortgage too, and I have to pay that. Yeah. That we had this thing we did a couple years ago. We did this membership for blowouts where you could pay. It was a slow summer, usually slower in the summer as it always is here in Naples, and we did these memberships for $99 a month. They got 5 blowouts, which comes to $20 each, where our blowouts are normally $70. So it was like a crazy deal for people. Oh, yeah. And we had people, a lot of people that took advantage of it. And then we realized, it was kind of a lost leader. We just given this benefit out. We had our lower levels doing it. Well, over time, we made allowances for a higher level stylist to do those. And it got to the point where this past year we realized we are losing we are losing so much with this. It's killing us. And, we made the change to say, well, we can't do that anymore. We were giving it away. When you give somebody something for that long and then you can't have it anymore, it's like this major disruption of, but we won't be, if we keep doing that, it's really going to hurt. We're not going to be able to sustain it. So people are now, well, I won't come here anymore. Well, we understand that, but we won't be here anymore if we keep charging that price.
That's right.
Anyway.
You wouldn't have the option.
Won't have the option anyway. So it's such a fine line because they're all givers. A hairstylist is like somebody who not only they have the artistic ability, but they have huge hearts. They love to give. They love to serve. They're all about people, and that's kind of our culture. So when there's that line of, listen, it's necessary. You have to feed your kids. Peanut butter's $9 a jar now. It was $5, a couple years ago. Everything is so much more expensive.
Yes.
It's just tough. In Naples, the market here is. It's a different world. So great to hear that from you anyway. There's when they have confidence in a place to stand, they know that because they're working in the top, we're ranked in the top 5% of salons. So when you're there, you got to, Louis Vuitton raises their price and they don't apologize for it. And you can't negotiate with Louis Vuitton.
Right.
There's no sales or discounts or anything you're getting from Louis Vuitton.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Louis has great products and, I certainly puts out the cachet and backs it up with the quality. But to your point, it goes into a big corporation too a little bit, not the small business owner.
Right.
That's what I love going back to. It's like, if they raise it, you won't complain about it. We raise it. We feel like in the salon world, you have it to back it up. We're the same. The same cachet and the same level, and that's what we're striving to provide. And why beat us up? And it's that personal thing. And I always think you were talking there just made me smile internally because I was like, not to bring this back, but oftentimes people think like the trusted confidant advisors or financial people and CPAs and attorneys and all that. I'm telling you right now, what your people do, like the trusted confidant, a lot of times is their hairdresser and it's the salon. It baffles me. It's just you walk in and you're hearing people's life stories, and it's between that and not the same. The shoe shine person, and it's a comfortable environment. And if you provide that, that's value. I mean, that's a service in and of itself. And just because it's intangible doesn't mean it doesn't carry. Yeah.
It's so true. Cause there's really nowhere else where you're going to sit and talk to another person for an hour, one-on-one, unless it's a therapy session that you're paying for. And this is a version of that.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cause in life, you're not doing that. You go to the doctor, you go to the dentist. It's not, you can't talk to the dentist really, and the doctor. They're bound by their times or wherever. You're just not with a person for that amount of time,
right?
And that one-on-one, those moments together. So that's a valid point too. And if that's not working too, we have a lot of Prosecco we give to people too, so that helps a lot.
That helps. That helps again. Value add plus one.
It's important. Yeah. So you talked about your mother and how she kind of nurtured that gift that you had in you. Mm-hmm. How would your mom's alive?
Yes.
And she's where? She's up
Lexington.
She's still
right
in
outside
Lexington.
of Lexington. Okay. So her and my father both.
So what do you do for the holiday? You go back there? Or
they've been coming down here now. They just love that Florida Christmas weather. Awesome. Especially in winters like they're already experiencing. Yeah. So most of the time, and again this year, they'll come down here for at least a week.
And your brother?
In Nashville.
He's in Nashville.
Him and his wife and son are in Nashville.
Okay. So your parents will be here are they here now or are they coming in?
They're coming in right after Christmas.
So how would mom describe you?
Well, one, she'd probably fight back tears, but again, my mom is a wonderful soul. She's always been very proud of us, almost, to a fault sometimes, even when maybe she shouldn't have been. But we felt like pretty good kids. She would have to describe me as independent from the start, very bullheaded probably at times and stubborn. But my parents both, kind of just never really got in the way of that or like discouraged it, and tried and did their best of just kind of nurturing that to the best of their abilities. And I have no doubt they did. I always say, we financially speaking, it's, we were solidly middle class in the 80s and 90s, right? Just really lower middle class. And, the American story, you bring it up, and, my dad's father and parents, they came, when they got married, they had, 16 cents to their name, not a lie, in Philadelphia. And so, that's the starting point of really our family. And on my mom's side, we're really tobacco farmers in a small town in Kentucky,
Oh, is that
right?
right?
So
Yeah.
pretty humble means, and I was blessed, and it's just a good American story. And that's why I think this country is so beautiful, right? I mean, where else in this world, there's not a lot of places, no matter our faults in this country and what may or may not have happened over the course of history and time. And we are where we are in a sense of place. And if we don't lose that, I mean, the beautiful thing is this country, you do that, you're willing to work hard, you're willing to make good decisions, and those that are just born into less than advantageous situations, if we as communities can rally around that and help them out, man, the American dream is live and real. And I know a lot of people say you came from a 2-parent household, and even though financially it wasn't that, I had a very loving home. That's all I cared about. You didn't have to worry about the shelter over your head, even though my parents scraped, and you didn't have to worry about food on the table, even though they were both working, constantly. That in and of itself is great, and that's a really big blessing that I was afforded with, right?
Amen.
So just having those bare necessities, and I feel like that's where, with not to be political here, but without government intervention, if we have communities can rally around families that may not have that same.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just to provide the feel good moment for donating your time, treasure, and talent, but really of how do we make that person's situation better?
Yeah.
Work with the willing, but if they're willing, how do we rally around that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Amen.
And get them along the same path, because they may just not have the same deck of cards from
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And that's what I find about Naples. It's so special, and I love about it because there's so many people who care about the people that are here. We don't need to call government up and say, let's go help these people. There's so many people here that are willing to help the people who are willing that and have needs that, there's somebody here to provide.
Absolutely. And this community is, like you said, it is incredibly special.
Yeah.
Edie and I have always had philanthropic hearts, even when we, really didn't or shouldn't as a financial person, but we always believed in the concept of tithing, right? And so quietly or, out there and making more public donations, whatever it may be, we just always felt like we had to give back, the treasures, and the Bible calls us to do the same. So we do that each and every year, and we sit down and we strategically kind of think through in the organizations. But this community of itself, take that aside, is just, it blows my mind each and every year, the generosity and the level of philanthropy, and especially for a community that, is seasonal.
Yeah.
Right. And people split time and have a whole nother community or home base. And so when you have that too, and you come here, it's just the beauty of this town in this area, Naples, Fort Myers, just up and down the coast, even in Sarasota, I see it a lot of times. It's just I hope this community never takes that for granted.
Yeah.
And there's just wonderful organizations trying to do the same. And it's just a great place.
Yeah. A lot of generous hearts and good souls here. And that's what I get to do just through this, is just talk to some of those people, like who are the hearts and who are the people making stuff happen. But there's more people coming in that continue to share that same spirit with people. It's a great thing, because there's no greater therapy than making a difference in somebody else's life in whatever way possible. When my attention is on giving to somebody else. I love that one of the schools that we get to visit is in Immokalee, one of the hair schools, and Delia runs a great program out there. It is the premier program. People will drive to her school in Immokalee iTech to go to that hair school, because she runs puts out such good students. She puts her heart into it, and she's just really great. But I love when we take that trip out there. We have, it's first of all, it's fascinating to me that within the same county there can be the top 0.1% of wealth, and then Immokalee, within 30 miles of each other, and going out there. But when we take that trip out there, it's one of the most rewarding, and because the people there are I just love everybody I run into out there. They're just so special. Everybody, just when Hurricane Irma happened, the first one in 2017. I've had a lot of them over the years in my life here, but that was the first one that was a disruptor before Ian, which was really the worst. But we went out there to bring we shut the salons down. We took a bus out there, went out there to help them with supplies. They were getting supplies driven in from all over the country, and they needed help distributing them through the cosmetology school. And we made so many wonderful friends from the community out there, and a couple of the people ended up coming to work here. The girl who drives from LaBelle actually was in school at the time. She became one of our senior leaders now too. But going there and being a part of that community, seeing that community, doing whatever we can to make a difference in that community, hiring the people from that community. It's just I love their souls. They're just really, just the heart of that community is really special. You think of people who have nothing, and we delivered to people who have nothing. Like literally, their one thing they did have, which they had a mortgage on, was their mobile home, which was leaking and torn apart. But they were happy. They were happy without anything, and to be able to make a difference and to do that on a regular basis is why I like to do what we do in our business. Like when we're successful, we can do more for people who need and provide more for people. And that's more important to me than, like what the bottom line is. Yeah, I want to have a good bottom line so we can do more for more people. Amen. So we can hire more people and make a difference in the community and the world. So it's great to, share hearts and stories about, what it is you're up to, because I know you're involved in a lot. There's a teen, what's the program that you're involved with? Teen, the name of it, maybe it's not teen. It's a youth program that, first of all, you went to a Catholic high school. I forgot about that part too, right? Did you go to
did. I went to, I was a little bit scholarship money there, but I was Catholic educated from middle school to high school. Then Dayton's a Catholic school, and not many people know that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, they're a Catholic college too. So definitely was raised in kind of the Catholic education parochial system. I'm just a Church of Christ Christian at this point in time in my life, have been for a long time. Yeah. But always have that Christ centered, and I was very blessed in to be able to have that educational base, mostly for this discipline and structure. Yeah. That it provides.
Yeah, that at the time, well, in our area up there, you either went, my parents both went to Catholic school in this is West Philadelphia, and my father got kicked out of Catholic school. That's why he stopped at 8th grade. But going back to what you were saying about the American dream and the American way, he so loved this country. I mean, he's in heaven now, but man, I'll tell you, he knew he could have, in this country, he'd have whatever he wanted. He could with an 8th grade, he didn't even need an education. He knew if he hustled, he would have whatever he could get, whatever he wanted at any level. If he wanted to work, he could do it. He just loved that about this country. Such a patriot. Loved the men in service, the men who serve, just had so much passion for, and it lives on through my children. He got a piece of that in them, where they really know that we have the best place, and
love them.
People who complain about or think that we don't live in the best place. We have a couple people, three that are from Cuba, and lived in Cuba up until the last 10, 15 years. And some of them just moved from there in the last few years, and share about what that's like, and try to educate the people that are here in our company, what it's like, what any other form of government besides ours, like theirs, whatever they call it, socialists or communists or whatever it is. It's not what people think. And they are very good at educating our young people who are coming up now, like to teach them, like, listen, it might sound good on paper, but in reality, we had free healthcare and we had free education in Cuba, but we couldn't get anything done. We couldn't get any services done. Marina, who's from Russia, and her mother's still in Russia. Sadly, they can't see each other. They haven't seen each other for 4 years. Needs surgery, and she can't get it there. It's free, but she can't get it. They either don't have a surgeon trained for it, or there's such a lineup for it that she can't get it. So I appreciate that they're in our culture educating people that, we got it good. We got it really good.
We have it really good. Yeah. And again, I don't think any governmental system is perfect, but man, you go through the echoes of time and what the founding fathers did in the late 18th century, and what they put together in those decades and had to fight for and shed blood for and lose loved ones for. And still to this day, we have warriors that are doing the same, and they risk it all on the line. It's a system that is very unique and special. Yeah. They drew on history and put together what they felt like was a very, very solid system. Yeah. And it has been. Yeah. And it has led us, led the world really through dark times. Yeah. Right? And wow, how the world would be different if World War II didn't end up
100%.
The way it ended up, right? And we're not probably having the ability to sit here and talk freely over a mic system and be able to publish this kind of stuff if that greatest generation didn't do what they did, and the generations before and after them. So
and people take that for granted. They don't realize that that's
it's not free. Like I know it's somewhat cliche, but that freedom is not free.
No.
And that's why Edie and I, you were getting into a little bit of the philanthropic side. I mean, we are, insanely passionate whatever we did. And clearly, neither one of us served, and we do have some extended family members, and one sister of Edie's did serve, but the men and women who serve our veterans causes is near and dear to our heart.
Yeah.
In addition to what we do around children and education and really children trying to keep them out of the foster care system, like that's our passion. Is you align that with trying to help the next generation as much as you can through education and not fall into a terrible situation, and certainly everybody who protects what we're able to do on a daily basis. That to us is the ultimate.
Yeah, we had the blessing and opportunity to have to honor the Gold Star wives of Florida. There was an event that came out, and we got to give them some pampering. Gold Star wives are the widows of the servicemen who were killed in action or killed in serving, and they gave the ultimate sacrifice as their wives. I mean, they're still here. They're still here suffering. They lost their loved one. They really sacrificed. They sacrificed their husband, their wife, or whoever it was. And I'll never forget the day. It was right over here at Bayfront. We had them here, and I was in tears the whole day, just in honor of who these women are, who sacrificed their families for us. It just made me, even in this moment, get moved by it, because I am so grateful that they were willing to do that for us and for what we have. And we don't see that every day. We don't hear that every day. We don't think about it every day. We think about our own problems and traffic and,
Yeah, you
Christmas
take your problems,
gift.
like most of our problems, you and I both probably, and you frame the reference around something else, and you have to be willing to expose yourself to that and take that in. Man, your problems become trivial in the grand scheme of things more often than not.
Yeah.
Right? There's challenges, everybody deals with them, but a lot of times if you really expose yourself and bring in a broader network and get to know people and get to know their souls, your problems are probably something that, one, humanity has absolutely dealt with before.
Yeah.
Right? Find that support system. But two, probably aren't as great as some of the others where that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
That to me, and I always tell them, and they don't, most of the time, military spouses and, Gold Star widows and children who have lost their mother or father because of that and all that, man, they don't even want to hear it. And they're just like, we just did what we did. We had to serve. And this was our path, understood. But just know, here's a support system. We can't empathize with you. We were not in your shoes, but I can only imagine the gradation of what you had to come through and the toughness and fortitude that you have to battle with each and every day.
Yeah. They were thanking me. I'm like, what are you thanking me for? You stop it. You can thank me. Thank you. We got to make them feel beautiful. It was fun. It was a unbelievable day. It was Aaron Vaughn's mother, Karen Vaughn, Aaron Vaughn was the guy who, one of the vets who was lost in the Afghanistan mission from Florida. And she's been such an advocate and such a great spirit for our men of service. And it just brings me right back to it. My appreciation and love for that. So thanks for bringing that up for me.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome.
Glad we share that in common.
Yeah. So what is it that you guys came to Naples together, but you had family here? What was your journey from getting down
to here,
place?
this area?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were, back in 2010, my grandparents, and extremely close to them growing up, they had moved down here, seasonal residents, but we're starting to spend more time down here in Southwest Florida. And we were in Atlanta, and Edie and I would make long weekends whenever we could sneak one in and getting some stuff for their house. And they were independent, but my grandfather started to have some health issues at the time. So, we were, again, in our mid-20s. We knew where Atlanta wasn't our permanent place of where we wanted to settle down. We don't have children still to this day. So, whether we were going to have children or not, we just knew Atlanta wasn't going to be our home. She's from Mobile, Alabama. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, both cities, but smaller cities in Atlanta, clearly. Edie wanted to get closer to the coast at that point in life, too, and just get back to that coastal lifestyle. And my grandparents were here. So we ended up, and, Southwest Florida was, as people know who have been here, yourself included, in 2010, it was not like an attractive place to live. You're still on the tail end of the Great Recession, and the economy was really in the toilet. And we decided to build a home like crazy. At the time we were 26-year-olds Built a home 3 blocks for my grandparents to help take care of them. And that was the main driver. And we were fortunate enough to have careers that were able to be transferred. And I was working remotely still with Deloitte before remote work was even a thing of COVID. Hated it, by the way. That's just not my personality. But anyway, we were able to have that ability to do so. And Edie, found HBK when we moved down as well. So that was the main driver. It was a family decision, a little bit of personal in there, and we settled. And I had more rounds of golf and Sunday family dinners with my grandfather before his ultimate passing in 2019 than I ever would have had otherwise.
What a blessing. That's awesome.
And we saw it, and people were like, why are you guys moving to Southwest Florida? Like that's old people. You guys aren't old, right? And you come down here, and even people down here, which was the shocking thing, they were like, why would you move down here? The economy's terrible at the time, right? Like what do you see coming from Atlanta, with the names on your all's resumes? What do you see in this place? And again, it was the family lean, but us and for whatever analytical minds we do have and forward thinking, we're like, yeah, but look at this place. I mean, no state income tax, sunshine 300 plus days a year, weather's fantastic. It's paradise, right? This can't stay deflated forever. Like people are going to figure it out. I would think, right? Whether it's next year or 5 years or 15 years, sure enough, it happened. But you look at all the positives and the optimistic nature of what Southwest Florida was, and we made the jump. That's what brought us down here, and we just never have looked back. We miss a lot of elements of the South. We make a joke sometimes. We move so far south, we're kind of out of the true Southern culture.
Yeah, right. You move past the line.
We move past wherever that line falls. Right. We've moved past it. There's a lot of elements of South we miss, but we would not call another place home at this point. It's just ingrained in us, and it's paradise. Yeah, it's a wonderful place. Great people.
And you're a Naples guy all the way now, right? You're like Naples in the heart of Naples.
Yeah, we're Naples. I mean, we live in Naples, or we've been, even when we moved, we were blessed to find an unbelievable friend group, and that's expanded since then. And it's centered here in Collier County, although we have wonderful friends that live in Lee County too. And, coming from a bigger city, and we're not both from here, Edie and I both said, like, it doesn't matter if you have a Fort Myers address, Naples address, like, we've just met some incredible people across this whole region. And even though we're based in Naples now, when we first moved down here, we're in South Fort Myers. That's where my grandparents settled, and that's why we settled there, to be close with them. But even though we're in Naples now, we just view this Southwest Florida greater region as just a special place, regardless of, what the name is on the address.
Yeah, no question. It's just the sunshine. And people are in a good mood here because the sun's out.
That's it. We have people that come down and they're like, man, everybody's happy. I'm like, how can you not be happy?
I know.
Right? I mean, it's just step outside.
My wife is from Michigan. Her family's from Michigan. I remember going up there to experience what a real winter is like, to visit. When we were courting each other, I went up to Michigan and felt what a real winter was like, and saw the gray sky and the, just, I don't know how they do it. Like it's just dark and gray and just, it's like you got to hibernate or something. It's a whole different world.
Yeah. What vitamin D, and I mean, not to get too medical, but what vitamin D does to us as humans, and the natural vitamin D you get from the sun, it's a wonderful thing, just both in attitude and biomolecularly and like how you feel as a human being. The sun is a very powerful thing. Yeah. And when you don't have the sun, when you've had it, like you feel a change really quickly. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I love when I travel and come back to the Fort Myers airport, and no matter what time of year it is, you walk off the plane, and just in that jetway, that little tube, you feel the humidity hit your skin the minute you walk out of the airplane. And I love that feeling. And some people are like, oh, it's so hot. No, I like to feel that wetness in the air on my skin.
But it's so funny. It's so funny you say that. It describes the exact same feeling. It's the same thing. I know the double doors at RSW open up, and you just take that deep breath of pure humidity, and just like it's a warm blanket of I'm home. Right?
It is a blanket. Yeah, it is. Like, you're right.
So funny.
Yeah. And people were like, oh yeah, because you had to bundle up wherever you left from, and then you come here and you feel it. Just,
And they're like, what about in August? I'm like, I still have the same feeling. It's just a little bit warmer. The dial on the blanket's turned up.
Yeah, right? That's it. Yeah, it is our home. It is special, and even our food, just everything about it. So I could go Chamber of Commerce lover of this community forever, and we're getting more from the Northeast now too in the last 5 years, because it was usually only forever. It was the Midwest. It was Ohio, Michigan, Chicago, because the 75 would take them on this coast, and 95 took the East Coasters down to the other coast. So, but now we've gotten our blend of fellow Philadelphians here, and East Coast, Northeast, New York, and getting a good blend. But it's people are happy, so
Yep,
I love that part of it. How about your Naples life when you're not doing when you're not serving your clients? What are you doing?
Yeah, outside of the professional world, which consumes a lot of our time for sure. I'd say it's probably fallen in one of two main buckets outside of eating as personal time, which is the most important thing that we do. But when it's community involved, it's either philanthropic based, especially during season, or our biggest hobby is we're avid wine collectors.
Oh yeah.
So it's a shared passion we've had since our early 20s when we first met, and we've just always loved in and of the wine, not from a the alcohol perspective or anything else. I just think wine is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Created by Mother Nature, been with us for centuries and centuries, and it's a great social tool, but it's scientific.
Yeah.
You can totally go down rabbit holes with it.
Yeah.
It's just a fun thing for us to do.
Yeah. My father was a wine collector and connoisseur, loved his reds, his Cabernets, and he used to have this couple of bottles that he always treasured. He had this Jordan 78 that he thought was like only came out on special occasions, this Jordan 78. And lately my wife, Camus is her favorite. She loves a Cabernet. We don't drink that much, but if she's going to have wine, that's her like go-to. She loves Camus. And trying to remember the ones. We go look at houses for fun in Naples and see these wine cellars that the wine rooms that they build into these homes now. Just fascinating. These beautiful rooms that they build into homes now. That just see what there's a home in our neighborhood that's been for sale for a while. We peek in and we see this. They turned one whole room into this. It looks so cool. I mean, it just got that look.
That's totally Edie and I. We don't have that in our current house, but we totally would revamp a whole room, and we design homes. It's like, what do we do with them?
Yeah. So what are some
total first world problems? It's total. Right. We totally understand that too.
What are some Cabernets that you would put on your list?
We are extremely big Bordeaux fans.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Well, besides country and sense of place, Bordeaux for us is, and we love aged Bordeaux. So, the wine making style, although it's changed in Napa, not to geek out too much, the California Cabernet is just because of the soil composition and everything else, and they call it terroir, way different than what it is in France. And so with the French Bordeaux, and even though it's Cabernet Sauvignon driven, is on one side of the bank, and it's really Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot and a little bit of Cab Franc driven with two others, but same varietal, right? Same grape, but that's where you get the specialness of, you really get a sense of difference. And once you start tasting, you can pick up more on, it just tastes different, and the ability to age. And as it ages, what Father Time does to the composition of wine and the flavors and the depth of that, we've just explored that and been blessed enough to do so. And it just, it not an aphrodisiac, but kind of, it just, turns on a different side of your brain that does it. So we've just always been, it's usually lower in alcohol, actually, in French Bordeaux, than what, your American wine will be, or your California wine, or Washington, or wherever you're getting your Cabernets.
Okay.
And then Italians are very similar to the Bordeaux aspect, being over in Europe too, and again, soil compositions and all that. But Italians are doing some great things with Cabernets in the Tuscany region and everything else. So we've been drinking a lot of those as well.
So what is the term Cabernet and Bordeaux? What does that mean?
Bordeaux is just a place. Right, so that's like calling it Napa. Like we drink a lot of Bordeaux. It's like we drink a lot of Napa. Bordeaux is it's a city there, but a region. It's just a region of France, a wine growing region of France. It's composed of different little sub areas, and but Cabernet and Merlot were their predominant grapes planted in that region, just like it basically is from reds out in Napa Valley.
Okay, so they would be considered similar, just different regions.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different continents, different regions, but that's the beauty of it. And you say your wife likes Camus, and again, Edie and I go out to Napa usually at least once a year. We honeymooned out there, and we have great friends who are out there now, and just become again good buddies with a lot of vintners, and been blessed to do so. But you can take a pitch and wedge from where Camus is and where they grow, and they get a lot of grapes in too. But we'll take a pitch and wedge from Camus, and I'll show you another Cabernet or Driver or wherever you want to go, north or south of where their property is, and the Cabernet will taste way different. And it's a testament to, even if it's on the other side of the road, testament to a little bit of sense of place, but even winemaking style and what they do. And that's where I say it's as much science, and you get into it, and it's just really unique. It's art in a bottle. At least it is for us, and that's how we treat it.
Yeah.
So it's just fun, and you get to know people, and then you get to know the artists, the winemakers or the vintners, and their styles, and you follow them. And for us, it's fun. We get our rocks to it.
I went to Italy many years ago, and it was before Airbnbs, but they had a version of that where you would stay on somebody's property like that. And every place I visited, they each had their own wine that they either, or I guess they had their little wine cave where they kept it. And even my grandparents in Philadelphia, in that little row home, they had an area in their basement. That
Mine too. My great grandparents had the same thing right there in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
But no. That was something that always fascinated me. There's this room down there. It was a crude room, but that's what it was for. To keep their wine.
They shipped the grapes in from California. They went down to the street, bought them, crushed their wine for the year.
Yeah.
Right there in the basement.
They would make their wine. Yeah, that's what they did.
Absolutely.
And that stuff would kick ass too, because they were drinking that. I remember that. And we were allowed to taste it while we were kids. That was wine was with everything. It was a part of the ritual. It was like orange juice at breakfast. Wine was like
you grew up in an Italian family and Italian meals, and you get it, man. It's amazing how much that culture is, and thankfully through families continues to pass on. And I hope at least the Italian side of my heritage personally, and you keep doing that. And Italy's a beautiful country, but a lot of the traditions and what they do in a sense of family and as wild and crazy as Italian families can be, it just that sense of you get around the table and the specialness and what you're sharing.
All about food.
Yes.
Just everything revolved around food. And
Absolutely.
it was the whole, my parents were both of them great cooks. And so, we watched the movie, the newer version of Miracle on 34th Street, which was came out in like the early 90s. And and then we watched Home Alone again, the original version of that.
You have to,
classics.
That's
Yeah. And Home Alone, they have like however many, 5 kids, 6 kids, whatever it was. You're like, how do they afford all that? Feed that many kids. But at the time, people didn't eat out as much too. They cooked a lot at home. People cooked meals at home and ate at home a lot more than today because my mother was always cooking something, my father was always cooking something, and then we always had this other person that showed up because they were always serving food to somebody. And every holiday we had people there who we didn't know who they were, but mom and dad always said our house was open. We have enough food for an army anyway. They always did, so much food. And it was all around food. And you'd eat round 1 and then go watch a little football, come back and eat round 2. And then, back, it was all around the kitchen. My mother in that row home, my grandmother, that kitchen was, now the kitchen is like, my kitchen is probably bigger than her whole house back then. And her kitchen was so little, but the food she could cook out of that kitchen was just unbelievable. Just heavenly. Just how they, I couldn't wait to go in from outside playing you smell that my mom would lift the lid off the we called it gravy sauce. And you smell that garlic. You could smell the garlic outside down the street at the football field. You could smell that.
Yeah. It's like you can pull in the driveway and be like, yeah, I smell that garlic. It's great.
Yeah. Just feel it. And we go and try to steal a meatball from her, like she's cooking like that. But it was all the holidays and Christmas Eve and the 7 fishes but it was, in fact, the business that they opened when they opened the salon, it was literally like an extension of their home. It was like, this is like a party, but we're, going to be doing hair while we're here too. And, this is like, come on in. And my mother worked the desk and greeted people and updated people on the latest gossip in Naples while my father was cutting hair in the other corner. But it was our Italian heritage that they welcome people in, the part of it, which is special because you can go in any Italian's home and the first thing they're going to do is try to feed you.
Absolutely.
Sit down and eat food.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. In fact, one of my mother's best friends who's still alive comes here every year. She comes to Naples and she'll cook this incredible meal. She is a very good cook, very similar to my mom. So every season they come and I get to go have her, this, because there's not many that have that ability to cook it the old school way and to make the pasta and the sauce and the meatballs.
Agreed.
So it's nice to still have it passed on. So it's nice to talk to a fellow Paisan about, about the good eats. And speaking of food, you were referred to me, or Brian introduced you to me because you're a good friend of his. So how did you guys meet? How did you end up? Because he speaks highly of you and you're an important person in his life.
I'm always humbled by that, Brian. He and I just have a special relationship. We view each other at this point more like brothers than even friends.
Yeah.
A lot of just what we've experienced, and a lot, people now know his story over the last 5 years. But really, it started about 11 years ago, is when Brian, Edie, and I and Nicole first met one another, and it was through philanthropic endeavors. We met over that. Brian has a wonderful heart. People know that in the community. And we met through an organization that was built at the time through Naples Children Education Foundation, who hosts the Naples Winter Wine Fest. And so we served on a committee there at the time and just instantly had a connection. There was something different. He was in the early stages of building Crave. Edie and I were clearly where we were in our careers, but in the early stages of really building our practices and client responsibility and books of business within HBK, and just kind of a similar place in life, right? And so, again, hit it off. Just continued to connect, and then certainly him and Nicole clearly dating, and Edie and Nicole hit it off too, and just one thing led to another, and next thing you know it's weddings, and we get together all the time, and we just connect. That's all I can say, right? Yeah. It's a special relationship that I feel he and I both never take for granted, and just in a similar place in life, at the times and through it, and especially. Clearly having gone through, thank God, what he and Nicole have gone through in their various chapters and what they've had to overcome, but have certainly been there seeing it from the side, and just their family. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So that's how we met, a little bit deeper on, how we met and who we are together. But just two of our best friends.
Yeah, he spoke very highly of you, but I know you've been there with him through it all, and he's been through it all.
Yeah, definitely. Him and Nicole. Right.
Yeah, their family.
You go back to you mentioned the spousal thing within the military, and again, very, very different, but a very multiple traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
And so, being there with Nicole and seeing her strength and her faith in God, and just her having to lean on that so much through so much trial and tribulations, it's just been, it's been rewarding, if you can even say it that way, to watch. Yeah. But if people don't know their story, they should. Brian's a lot out in the community, but just the both of them together, just incredibly special.
Yeah.
Special people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Really good souls. Yeah. Again, part of this great community that we have.
Amen.
Yeah. What's your, so you're giving when you're outside of work. What if you weren't doing what you're doing as a career, what would you be doing?
Yeah, the lottery job. That's what we always call it, right? So it's what would you be doing if you hit the lottery or had the windfall,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I've always said it, and I told Edie early on, we always go back and forth, and she would always ask that question. That's how we talk. And I literally would be a teacher coach. That's what I would do. Yeah. I don't know where or what it would look like. Just, again, going back to that passion for leading talented groups of individuals and being a part of that group, and as a fellow team member too. If I wasn't doing what I was doing, I would absolutely go back into some sort of fashion of teaching and coaching. So that
baseball and any part of that?
Baseball or basketball?
Or basketball.
I love basketball.
Oh,
baseball is a sport. I played basketball growing up too, and had a decent amount of talent. But you get to high school and you stop growing, and when you're vertically challenged, and you don't see very many Italian professional basketball players, right? So that's so true. That's not the sport that Italians do very well. They're not winning gold medals in the Olympics either. So baseball, I just was a love of mine too, and just transferred into that. So it would probably be one of those two sports. I love basketball, love following it, love the X's and O's of the game, and the fast-paced nature.
Yeah, so. Italians and sports. But one of the guests, a guy who grew up locally here, was Carmen Cali, and he was a baseball player from Naples. There's only two people from Collier County that have ever made it to the majors. He was one of them, and the other was Chris Resop, whose parents are my neighbor, and he played for the Braves for a while too. And he was telling a story about when he got called up, And it was when Pujols was on the team, and that era of the he got called up to the Cardinals,
St. Louis.
St. Louis, and it was Pujols, and the all-star lineup, whatever they had, and the manager was the legend. Of course, I can't get his name right now. So he walked into the clubhouse. They first of all, they almost didn't let him into the gate because he pulled up in whatever car he pulled up in, and he's an Italian, so he's not the biggest guy, And he walks.
And you don't make a lot of money in the minor leagues too, so it's a double-edged sword there for Italians.
He tells the story of when he walked in. They told him to rush to the game. He had to drive from wherever the minors were, and he got there, and he walked into the clubhouse, and the game had ended by the time he walked in, and they all walked out. And they were just towering over him. He said he remembers looking, but he was just in awe of being in the same room as these legends, right here. And then he told this story about when he was on the Twins, how he was pitching, I think, in San Diego, and the mound was messed up, and he was trying to get the mound fixed, and he didn't know he could call the crew out or whatever he needed to. And the manager came out and he said, "Hey, do you think you could fix that hole on the mound?" He said, "I can't even see my pitcher from back here because he's so short. He's a 5'8" out there." That's my Italian buddy. He's the other Italian. So he had some great stories to tell, but still he's got the Italian tradition. And actually in the minors, he talked about how they didn't even have, this was 04, 03, they didn't even have housing for the minor league. They stayed with families. Mm-hmm. In Jersey, one of the minor league teams of the, I think the Twins first drafted him, or maybe it was St. Louis first draft, whoever it was, their minor league team there, he stayed with a family above a bakery.
Yeah, especially the lower the rung the level was.
Yeah.
Some teams have made adjustments now because they realize the value of taking care of health of players and on the road. And you have money, time,
even the food
you have money and
stuff,
time investments in these young men. Yeah. You probably need to take care of them a little bit better. But back then. It was host families, or you're staying in not so great hotels and long bus rides, and minor league baseball is not a glorious path, not financially rewarding whatsoever until you make it.
No, it was brutal for him. He was some neat stories about it, but hearing when he got called up and just what that was like, and those moments, and to think that there's only, that's how hard that sport is. There's only 2 out of this all the years at Collier County, only 2 have ever made it.
That's wild to think about because of all the great baseball and just the development that happens down here in Southwest Florida. And Naples, specifically 2. Is wild to think about. I would have guessed a lot higher.
I would too, and it's year round here. They play all the time, and but that's how hard that sport is. It's just basketball. I guess the same. There's been a lot that made it to the NFL, but not to MLB anyway.
No.
So what is your go-to music that's playing either in the car? Because we're building a playlist around the Spotlight of Good People. So whatever music is in your
I'm all over the board when it comes to music. So the first thing, I'm not an artistic person whatsoever, but I can appreciate good art, whatever form that's coming in.
Yeah.
Music wise, growing up was always country, being in Central Kentucky, and big country music fan to this day. If it's probably that's the most mainstream I'm listening to, and it's not just the new poppy type of country. You're getting a little bit more old school sounds and everything else. If it's not country again or kind of top 40, I really and as I've grown and matured and continuing on, really love jazz and classical music. So I've really fallen into a lot of jazz and even some that jazzy blues, again, that Southern culture you just can't get away from. And even what some country was built on, that Southern jazz blues. You put me in a dark club in a corner and live music with sax going or anything like that. I'm in heaven at this point in time.
You visit your brother in Nashville? You ever go to any places
we were just
there?
up there for work reasons, but we've gone up there a few times. Our seasons collide. He's a Division I golf coach at Belmont University. Does a wonderful job. He's just, that's his calling. That's what he does. He's really good at it, even at his age. But we get up there, we just cross paths a little bit. So they're going to come down for the holidays too, but we try to see each other at least once, maybe twice a year.
Do you get to any of the live music venues up there when you go to Nashville? Have you done any of that in the Nashville area?
We do. We go downtown. When we're there. Not quite my type of scene all the time. You can handle it.
I haven't seen it.
It's kind of
there.
I view Nashville. It's changed so much in the last 5 years too, with the influx of population that is settled in Tennessee, much like down here.
Yeah.
We forget. There's other areas of this country that had the same. Nashville being a hotbed for California and a lot of the up east too, especially in around the entertainment industry. But I view it a lot like almost Las Vegas now without the gambling.
Is that right?
So I can handle it for a couple of days. Go to live music. I mean, very few places can you just walk a couple streets and you got live music going 24 hours a day almost, and multiple talented performers. It's a really cool environment to be a part of. But a few days and
it's enough. Yeah. I'm done with Vegas now too. That's the last time I went. I used to love going there to play cards, but poker. But last couple of times we went, man, they just hit you for
it's everything.
Yeah. It's just too much. It's like even if I can afford whatever it is, like the bottle of water or whatever, it's still just over the top what they're hitting you with. Early check-in fee, and then they cut the number of check-in staff at 3 on purpose to make you suffer. So if you don't pay that early check-in fee, they're going to penalize you. It almost seemed like they did that strategically. Like there was a thought process. It just drove me nuts. So we're done for that for a while, and play cards in a lot of other places now too. So, what are a couple artists that we could add to the playlist that you would say either jazz or
one of my favorites is Leon Bridges. So really, really good. We were fortunate. We saw him live last year. He was
him live.
He was over at the Hard Rock, played at the Guitar Hotel, cool. And he's just really cool, man. Especially on vinyl. Like you put Leon Bridges on vinyl, and it's.
Do you have a player?
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
Wow.
So and again, it's a lot of times when you're home, we're playing some Leon, or we're going old school, man. Like we pop open a bottle of wine if we're cooking, and we just feel like throwing a record on. It's a lot of Louis Armstrong, a little bit Duke Ellington.
Yeah, very cool.
Getting back, even if we went even more chill, we're going Tchaikovsky and Beethoven and more classical than even that jazzy blues kind of feel.
Yeah,
so
I can get all over that too.
That's most of our records is going to fall
cool.
in and around that lane.
Wow. Yeah. Boy, I wish I would have kept all my old vinyl, man. I had so much of it. Now I'm regretting that so much because it's going back to that now. That's so cool.
It just has a different sound.
It does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Call it nostalgia, call it whatever you want. It just has a different feel, sound.
Yeah, even that snap or crackle that happens every now and then. That's a part of it, man. It's not pure. It is pure that way. It's more pure that way.
It's just with a lot of things. I feel like there's beauty in the imperfection. So everything musically, you can get it so technically accurate and it's so pristine and clean sounding and it's great for the radio. But man, the beauty's in the imperfection a lot of times in life. And vinyl was imperfect. It was an imperfect technology.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
What's any books or podcasts that are on your rotation or anything that's had an impact on you?
Yeah, one consistent one. Again, it's kind of like iron sharpens iron a little bit, and always trying to improve. And one consistent podcast for a decade now. He's probably been out, and he's written some books. Is Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
So he does his podcast, and it's a lot of military based, but a lot of life lessons, and it crosses over into the corporate world. So his book series of what he's done, Dichotomy of Leadership, Extreme Ownership was his number one. I think there's some of the best leadership books out there. There's a lot of good people who have penned, good leadership, but seeing the real world in different, adverse, high pressure, intense. Again, we go back to we think our daily lives as business owners and other thing is intense. Like that's not intense of what those type of guys face, but having the ability to not only narrate that and then cross it over on the applicable, really human lessons from how they approach it, maybe in a militaristic or even war zone perspective, but how that corresponds and correlates to a professional and daily environment. I think he and clearly never met him, but he and his company just have a unique ability and knack to be able to cross that barrier and put it into, civilian terms, if you will. And I just find that to be really nice. It's one of my mainstays whenever I'm throwing a podcast on.
Got to put that on there, Zach. We got to get that on there. I'm going to have our web guy make it an easy portal for you so that we could just either send it to him or type it right in so that we have that running list of books, podcasts from our guests and music. So all three, one on our Spotify list, but also because I hear so many, golden nuggets, like, you know, him.
Neat stuff like that.
Yeah. You got to, if I don't fill my mind with that, it gets filled with garbage, you know, or noise, or, you know, I got to keep the good things going in my head, or my own mind takes over, and it's not very nice to me all the time. So it's good to hear other voices, you know, talking. Any book that had a big impact on you in your life?
I'll go back to extreme ownership. I mean, in recent ones, I would say kind of early on in my 20s, I would go to like the Carnegie type books.
Yeah.
And, you know, How to Make Friends and Influence People was just a classic. And I just remember reading that book and being like, all right, this is a good foundation of how to approach, especially your early career, and kind of combining with some of the things I said earlier and how I approached life and what I wanted for my professional career and journey to look like anyway. I was very influential there for a while, and kind of that series and Covey and everything else down that stream. And then, you know, coming in at the time, I was very blessed to be the youngest partner ever at HBK to make that, and trying to lead experienced professionals, or be a part of a leadership group of experienced professionals that were, you know, oftentimes 10, 20 years older than you, comes with its own challenge, especially when you have a sense of awareness that you don't have the experience they do. And I didn't take that lightly, or kind of, hopefully they would agree, didn't come across as too pompous and like a know-it-all, right? I had a lot of learning, a lot of wisdom that's gained from experience, and just experience alone, because you've seen more in life. There's just, the cliche is true. But then extreme ownership, when I picked that book up, it was like, this is how I want to lead. And the premise is like, the first thing you do is look in the mirror, right? If something is breaking down, especially the closer to the top of the stack you are as a leader, owner, whatever it is, the more you have to check it up. And so if something is going awry or not to your liking, and you have that ability to make the change, like, it's on you. Wherever the breakdown may have happened, it's on you, right? And you got to take that ownership. And if you are in the seat to correct it, and it's not going to get corrected unless you just humble yourself. You can admit your mistakes, or where you screwed up, or take the heat, and then move forward and execute. So I'd say that book in and of itself completely changed it. And that was a while ago, but it's a good one. You just keep rereading it and reiterate the concepts of it all too.
Yeah, that's good. I haven't read it, and it sounds like the time for me to read it right now. So
it's great. Good. I highly rate. I even give it to some of our aspiring professionals, and you know, I'm like, hey, look, this worked for me, right? It may not be for you, but if you want to know and how to get better and deal with people, and you know, and lead people, and maybe even client relationships, read this. And then followed up with the dichotomy of leadership that he wrote, because a lot of times, you know, it's not a binary decision in business as much as we try to make it to be, right?
It's not.
We want it one way or the other. And like, that's the simplistic form. You think it's A or B. It's binary. Like, make the choice. And in a lot of what happens in our world, our political system, to a large degree, is binary choices, right? But really, the world doesn't operate in a binary system. It's not. So how do you handle that? You know, the binary forces that are, you know, coming down on you in a non-binary world. And trying to, you know, again, balance that all and navigate that all, you know, to hopefully come up with resolutions or solutions that are still rising all tides. Whether it's, you know, at the expense of one or the other, all tides are still rising. So
that's really a powerful insight, only because I see it more and more every day. Like, we have 60 people, and they're all different. There's no it's not like black or white with all of them. They're all different. They're all in different places. They all have different needs. They all have different wants. And being able to adapt to that, it's not black and white. It's not, everybody's not going to fit in that hole that way. They're different. And that's how life is too. Yeah. It's not binary.
Absolutely.
It's not.
And I think and this is a broad statement I'm about to make in generalization, but I think even, you know, as we go through generations, and especially in this country, more and more are felt in. And I think, you know, younger people get a bad rap and, they're lazy, they don't want to work. And you probably have heard that throughout every generation. They never have worked as hard as the other generation. I don't buy into that necessarily.
I'm with you. I don't either.
I don't really buy into the generalizations, but I will say a big difference is, you know, it's how people are educated, or how they are raised in the environments of which they grew up in, has leaned itself more to kind of more individualistic, right? And kind of like the benefit of me. So leading teams in an environment, I'm kind of playing on your point of 60 people and they're all different, right? How do you do that in a procedural way to make it feel like I'm here for you on the individual level, but then remain consistency across the group, because you're dealing with just wildly different humans. Every human is different. It's a huge challenge for all of us.
And then we have, 5 generations of people from 17 to 70, 16 to 70, maybe 14 to 70, actually. There's a wide spectrum of people there. And same with our guests too, but it's, and I'm teaching, our leaders and my kids and whoever else is around me about that. Cause my son worked for, Nabisco for a while, and it's a big corporation that has a lot of things that are black and white, but this world our business is not that, we're not that, we're not at that scale, and B, we never could be that in this world, in our business, because we're in a service business where people are, we have to make sure that the people on our team are happy, content. They love coming here, because when they're happy and content, they love coming here and being here. They're going to be happy when they're serving guests. They're going to love to take care of people because they have peace of mind, and they know their home's taken care of and their kids are taken care of, and they're growing spiritually and growing physically and growing emotionally. They'll be home. There's not a manual for that. They can't put that into an SOP that says do it this way for that one, but they're all different. So I like that. That's on my list, that book or that series of books anyway, just that we brought that up. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Is there a hidden talent that you have, or something that most people don't know about you that should?
I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not artistic. I don't have any. I try to operate on what you see is what you get for a lot of times. Although I kind of a little bit more private person in some elements, but really no. I mean, I've described our hobbies, and I hate to sound boring, but so much of my time is dedicated to professional life. Hidden talents, hobbies, all that, and wine's our thing, and being able to taste is our thing, and kind of what we talked about in and around, that whole industry. But yeah, just boring, man. That's what it is. I told Brian.
I'm with you, but that's my life too.
Brian was like, "Hey, I gave your name." I'm like, I just don't feel like I have that interesting of a story to tell. I don't know about you. Like, he knows it, but like, I just don't feel like I do. I am who I am.
It sounds very much like my life. Friday nights, there's not a lot going on in our life. We eat out sometimes, but that's what I love about this too, because you don't think, that's how you think of yourself, but me seeing you from the outside, like who you are here, this is a snapshot of your life too, which I love to capture, because this moment will be over, and then 5 years from now you'll look back here and see where you were at this stage of life. But to hear, and you're a humble person, so you just, you're up to big things, but a humble person. So you're up to make a difference in the world, make a difference in the community, and doing things, serving others. And so that's a beautiful thing. And I love that you are a part of our community. I was telling Zach, who came here right out of school, he interned here. He's been here, I don't know, I've known you for a few already, it seems like, right? You interned for 3? Yeah. Yeah, he interned at his senior year of college, and he just, I love the story, because it's like what I love about people who are hungry. He just showed, I had an ad for an intern on Indeed, I think, and got a lot of responses, and got too many to even bother responding to it. At some point I said I was overwhelmed by it, so I said, I'll forget it's a bad idea. And he just showed up. He was in school in the Carolinas. You were in school when you came that summer, right? Yeah. North Carolina, yeah. And he just showed up. He came to Naples and just showed up at one of the salons, said, I'm here about the job. And my daughter met him and said, you got to meet this guy. He's a really great guy. And, he just kept showing up, and he just, was on the doorstep. And anyway, he and his now fiance moved here.
Congrats.
And yeah. And it's great for me to know that Naples is in such good hands with the people, or young people who are, going to continue on to make Naples great. Naples is so special.
It is. I love that. Thanks for sharing that story and letting him share your story, Zach, man. It just, I'll go back, blessed in the professional sense to work with incredibly talented people each and every day, and partners who we think alike, and, we're as friends as much as we are colleagues on the professional side. But we have this, at our firm, it's let's recruit character. Like, you can teach a lot of talent, and it's all sports teams, and it's kind of taken on the sports teams. You say, like, how does this team operate so good? They don't have the best talent. Like, on paper, they should not be winning championships. And sometimes, clearly talent can win out, but sustainability, like, you need character, you need drive, you need hustle, you need ambition. And that's not just, hey, you got to spend more time, although there is a correlation there.
Yeah.
But like, your hustle, Zach, you just show up and you don't take no. That's the kind of stuff, man. That's just character, and character in and of itself is harder to teach, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what really carries the day, because character will be able to deal with adversity, either if it's a blip of a moment or it's a time period in life. Character is going to call you through, and if you have that character to you, that's who we bet on.
No,
we're not. Professionally speaking, always kind of saying like, I won't interview anybody if they don't have over a 3.8 GPA, and I'm like, great, they're a test taker and maybe they're a super talented person, but I'll take a 3.0 with great character and hustle.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just a terrible test taker than a 3.8 with, they're just going to expect the world. Like that's a different person to me. And there's systems where person A at the 3.8 works out, and there's a system where, person B in a 3.0 but has immense character and hustle works out.
Yeah.
I'd like to be in the latter camp.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's great. That's like the binary thing where it's not binary. You can't just go by that one metric. And we do the same with stylists or anybody on our team that, like maybe they don't have the most natural talent, but they can be taught, but they have that character. They know how to take care of another human being. They know how to serve another. They know how to be kind and gracious and loving and thoughtful to another human. And we'll teach them the technical part. But if you have that heart in you, that you're whatever background, whether it's Cuban, Italian, we have so many nationalities here. Everyone, and they're all welcome. We love them all. We don't judge any of them. We don't have any requirements to have more of one than the other. If you're just a good human, come on over. We got space for you. We love you. Yeah. So couldn't agree with that more. I love that because it's just open heart. I do have to ask you though, because is this what you wear to work? Is this your work attire?
Most days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
not a tie thing.
No, we're not a tie and like buttoned up. We instituted this a while ago, and if I took it away from our team, or our partners did, or our leaders took it away from our team, I think we'd have a revolt. But we just kind of instituted like a dress for your day policy. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to be professional, but a lot of our team, like we're in jeans and a collared shirt for men, or something. It's different for women, but something that's professional appearance. But it doesn't have to be a silk blouse and tie and jacket and all that. But if you're meeting with big time client and they're more formal or whatever it is, like dress for your day, right? Institute that and be around. Like, hey, other people may have that in the a more formalized meeting in the office. Just be cognizant when you're walking through common spaces, and we do. Yeah. Right? With physical appearance. But yeah, this me, kind of I can walk right off the golf course into the office and kind of look is my deal, I guess.
Yeah. You definitely have the professional golfer look to you anyway, right? your brother's similar to you in size. Your brother look like he's a little bit he'll hate me saying he's a little bit bigger. So he's got about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches on me in height. And then he's just a little bit like a bigger guy. Yeah. So he's not obese by a long shot. I don't want to slam him there. Yeah. So you're a golfer too?
I am. Yeah. I just, I was the baseball player. He was the golfer. So, okay. But I am a golfer. I try to hold my own. I'm usually playing about.
How's your game against his?
Nowhere near. Close. Nowhere near. I mean, he was a collegiate golfer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've beaten him one time since we have, again, 6.5 years apart. I think I've beaten him one time since he was 12.
No, really?
So even at that age, man, he was just super talented. He's a super talented kid and loves the game and has the heart. And he's a lefty and I'm a righty. And he's a lefty too, pure swing. So
did he play baseball too?
He did growing up. He was a good little baseball player, great basketball player too. But golf was his thing. Man. Yeah, I remember my parents would drop him off at the municipal course in the summers, and it was almost like the golf course babysat him. And
really,
he wouldn't want to come home.
Wow.
And he's never met a stranger. He has that personality, and especially you put him on any country club or golf atmosphere, and he's a lovable guy and just fits. Yeah. So I'm proud of him, man. I'm super proud of him. I don't tell him enough, but he's done great things. He one time was the youngest Division I coach when he was at Murray State, and then took the job at Belmont. Before that, he was at Army West Point as an assistant coach. So he's kind of worked his way up and grinded, and again, in a sport and collegiate, it's a non-revenue generating sport. There's no glitz, there's no glam.
Oh yeah.
To it, it's his calling, right? He is that kind of teacher, and again, I think it comes from our parents definitively, and the grandparents and everything else, that he just loves teaching and coaching, and that's what he chose as his calling and his profession.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and he's going to be here for the holiday too.
He is. They're going to make the trip down.
Nice. So, yeah. Nice. You'll have everybody here then, right?
We'll have everybody.
That's awesome.
It'll be a busy house.
Good. Yeah. It just made me think of something, because it'll be your sister-in-law, your mom, the three women of the family will be there, right? Your sister-in-law, your mom, and your wife.
Yep.
Okay. Because maybe if they're interested in this, I don't know how long they're going to be here. We could have the three of them in together. It'd be our gift to come in and get some pampering and a little loving in the salon. We'll set them up. And
too generous of an offer.
No, really. It's the least we can do.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know they would absolutely.
I hope so. I
mean, be careful what you wish for too. And my mom would go berserk for that.
Great.
She'll go wild.
She earned it. She did a good job on you. So
not that Edie, my sister-in-law, wouldn't either, but I know my mom. It'd be a special memory.
Good. We'll have Marina get in touch with you and set it all up, and that it works for everybody, and make sure they get some good loving that they deserve. So
thank you.
That'd be cool. Be honored to have your mom here and your wife and your sister-in-law. So for sure. The question, and we'll have to revisit this in a couple years, but at this moment in life, what do you love about your life?
The most thing I love about my life right now is I have the most wonderful spouse, right? And so our marriage, and you go through it, and we've been married, it'll be 14 years next year, and our marriage gets stronger and stronger each and every year. And everything we go through and every new challenge, we just deal with it. And we've done something since our very early stages in our life and time together that as many days as we can, as long as one of us isn't traveling, at the end of every day, when now I come home, she works out of the home, but when I come home, we drop everything, no technology, and we go on a walk. Usually pour a glass of wine or something, and we just go on a walk. For 45 minutes at least, and get a couple miles in just at our pace, and we talk about our day. And that's a moment for her and I just to come together, talk about personal stuff or professional stuff or whatever. And those moments and what we do is just invaluable. But what I love about my life truly is how much she supports me and everything I want to do, and the idiosyncrasies of who I am and what I strive to be, and what I've been blessed to professionally continue to carry on, and traveling across the world and building an office in India and doing all these things that were bucket list items of me, but having her there along the way and for our marriage to grow. I love it. That's the most important thing in my life right now, hands down. I love hearing that. It's so special and great to hear when a relationship works to that degree. Like the love gets stronger every day. I can hear it because I experienced that in my relationship, like where when somebody loves the way she loves me for just the way I am and just the way I am not. She's not trying to change me. Yeah. She just loves, and I'm okay. And that just, there's nothing like that level of love. It's just at all. And and us as men, we're way different animals and creatures. And Edie and I met when, again, we were in our early 20s, and she saw something in me, and she made sure I knew that through a lot of different aspects. But she saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself personally, and made me explore depths of me and getting to who I am and my faith and true faith and beliefs and morality and everything else that I never would have had. I shouldn't say never, but certainly in my heart, I believe, like, not to the extent I have today if it hadn't been for God placing her in my life. I get it. And when you say it, in the South, we say we outkick your coverage. I mean, I'm not even in the same stadium or university, man. I'm right there with you, buddy. It's just but I'm blessed enough that she's stuck with me and rode this journey with me. Yeah. And I with her for this amount of years, and it just continues to get better. Yeah. Made you more of you than you even knew you were. Amen. Well said. I get it. Extremely well said. Yeah, because that's I know the feeling. I get the feeling too. Like I didn't know who I was until she told me who I was, and she keeps telling me who I am, and it's awesome because it's like, really? Yeah. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing when you just can't wait to be with your partner like that, just every day. And I love that practice of taking a walk without technology. I really love that. I think that's so necessary and such a great thing to do, because it only takes one text to take you out of the moment, or one notification, and you're gone from that moment in the middle of their sharing their breakdown of the day, and you get a text or a call, or I get, that just, I'm gone. I'm not there. And, when you're out in nature, going for a walk, and you got none of that with you, that's a beautiful practice. Absolutely. I love that. And again, because we live down here, we can do that almost year round. Sometimes you got to throw a little layer on, but it's wonderful. We call them our wine walks, and it's just been a staple of our marriage. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I got a lot of good stuff out of this for me, selfishly, in a good way. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me too. No, I thank you for,
taking time out of your life to be here with us, especially this time of year. It's always crazy for everybody this time of year, everybody has a lot happening between the holidays and just life in general. So thank you for giving us your time and me getting an opportunity to know you, and you're now in my circle forever. So I appreciate that.
Likewise, I appreciate you doing this. And I know you've had some exceptional people on your podcast and following it now, and just thank you for hosting and committing your time and talent to, bring light to others who are doing some things in this community to continue to make it special.
Yeah, I'm honored. And I really appreciate it. And anything that you're up to too, you should know this too. I know you're involved in a lot of organizations and you're working on giving and supporting many others. Any way we can support anything you, your staff, your team, or whoever you're working with needs, we're always here for you. No questions asked. Don't ever feel shy about asking for something. If we can donate services or products or whatever we can do to forward your mission, we're here for you.
Oh man, thank you. I think there's an organization I'm going to step into the board chair for the community board that they have here in Southwest Florida, an organization called Better Together. And
that's the one I was thinking of.
Better Together. It's just an incredibly wonderful organization. The CEO, Megan Rose, is here locally, and she's just an incredible human being. Vanessa Estrada is the local executive director, another incredible human being. Just the organization, if I can make a plug for them, it's just their core nucleus is really keeping families together. Megan came from the social work field. A lot of the people within the organization come from the social work field and realize that it's just not a good system, right? And it's not a good system when it comes to the bureaucracy of government. And I think even a lot of the good governments, like the state of Florida, recognize the same. It's tough to do, and you're dealing with precious lives. But what is extremely important is keeping the core nucleus family together, right? And if anybody can rally and the communities can rally around, because oftentimes it's probably just a string of bad luck. Right? It's a medical bill. It's a loss of job temporarily, and parent needs to get on their feet, and they just need help with their kids. Like, just let me concentrate for a week or 30 days or 60 days or whatever to get my life around, and again, work with the willing. And if you're able to do that and use the church system and the Christian faith for families to temporarily bring these young men and women into their homes, they're going to a loving, moral, Christian-based household. The parents can get on their feet, and they have a better families, which is keeping the families together, in a better jobs program. So it's not just keeping the core nucleus, but getting people gainfully employed as well. I think that what they're doing is just God's work. It's exploded across the state,
beautiful,
in various areas. But thank you for allowing me to talk about them.
Yeah.
The real heroes, the true stars are the people at Better Together, and Megan and Vanessa and the rest of the team over there. But what they're doing and really making actual, and I call it old school, man, what the churches used to do and still do to a large degree. I shouldn't take that away, but bringing that together and the community really wrapping around the people who need it the most, that really it's just temporary, and it keeps it out of the system, and it keeps them off the taxpayer role and money and pressure. And again, it's a way better outcome. The data proves that, everything proves that keeping the family together, keeping kids with their natural biological parents if you can, in a healthy environment, doing it and stabilizing them with employment and everything else, it works. Yeah. It works.
Beautiful.
So,
I love that.
May take you up on that, because
no, please.
I got some. You throw something out there, my mind goes a million miles an hour, and certainly would be beneficial and an experience for maybe some of the men and women that are there in the program, but also for you as well. So.
Yeah, well, I think one thing that comes to mind, and you mull this over with them, but sometimes people going through a difficult time could use a little escape to come to the salon and get a little makeover to kind of help them feel better about themselves when they're in a difficult time. And that's something that we could be available for on us, that, just to give them that moment of loving kindness and warmth, and to make them feel a little bit better if they're dealing with something difficult.
Love the connection. Clearly it'll be up to Megan and Vanessa on that decision, but I love the idea.
Whatever they need, however
especially before they host regular job fairs, stuff at, the Wires today, they're hosting their next one here next month, right? And so they have these job fairs, again, as part of their Better Jobs program, to get people gainfully employed for those families that are connected to the organization. Yeah.
So get them ready for that, or whatever they need. We're here. Just know that.
Oh man, you're awesome.
Do whatever we can do.
Great, man. I'm glad you.
God bless you for doing what you're doing with them too.
They do the work. It's just
couldn't agree more.
Trying to get the exposure out there and awareness out there.
Yeah. So we'll make sure we're on their radar. So whatever you need for that.
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Merry Christmas to you.
Merry
God bless you.
Merry Christmas, brother.
I really appreciate you.
Enjoyed our discussion today very much. Thanks.
Yeah, me too.
Appreciate your time too.
I look forward to meeting your family too. Hopefully I'll be here. We'll set it up so that we give them some good pampering, some good loving for Christmas, and keep the holiday spirit going.
Awesome. Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
you,
you
brother.
for that. Too.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, thanks.
God bless.
Yeah, you too.